All right, let's talk turkey. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to pull off a completely delicious and totally food-safe Thanksgiving. Think of this as your official briefing to make sure your holiday feast is memorable for all the right reasons. So, let's dive in. So, what do you think is the biggest danger lurking in your kitchen this holiday? I'll give you a hint. It's not a burnt pie or lumpy mashed potatoes. No, the biggest threat is completely invisible, and it uses time and temperature as its weapons. And here it is. Meet your main adversary, the danger zone. This is that temperature sweet spot between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit, where nasty bacteria can multiply like crazy. We're talking doubling their numbers in as little as 20 minutes. So our entire mission, our whole game plan, is built around one simple goal: keeping our food out of this zone. Now, our mission actually starts days, and I do mean days, before you even think about preheating that oven. Welcome to Phase 1, Mastering the Thaw. This is our first and maybe most important checkpoint. Okay, let's get one thing straight right off the bat. Whatever you do, do not just leave a frozen turkey on the kitchen counter to thaw. It's pretty much the biggest mistake you can make. Think about it. The outside of the bird thaws first and warms right up into the danger zone, becoming a perfect little incubator for bacteria, while the inside is still a block of ice. So if the counter is a huge no-go, what are your options? Well, you've got two mission-approved ways to do this safely. The gold standard is thawing it in the refrigerator. It's the safest because it's guaranteed to stay cold, but you really have to plan ahead. Your other option is the cold water method. It's way faster for sure, but it's an active process. You gotta babysit it. This chart right here, this needs to be your guide. You have to work backwards from Thanksgiving Day based on how much your turkey weighs. I mean, look at this. A 20-pound bird needs 5 to 6 full days in the fridge. That means you're starting this process the Friday or Saturday before Thanksgiving. This isn't a friendly suggestion, it's absolutely critical. So, your turkey is safely thawed. Great. We're moving on to Phase 2, the prep zone. And here, the name of the game is clean and separate. It is all about preventing what's called cross-contamination. And that brings us to one of the biggest debates in the kitchen. You've got the bird out of the packaging, it's all ready to go, so should you give it a good rinse under the faucet? Well, the verdict from food safety experts is clear, and it's a resounding no. Absolutely not. Rinsing your turkey doesn't actually get rid of bacteria. What it does do is spray those germs all over your sink, your counters, and anything else nearby. So why is rinsing so bad? When that stream of water hits the raw turkey, it creates this fine, invisible mist of contaminated water droplets. And that mist can travel. It can land on your countertops, your dish rack, even the fresh salad ingredients you have sitting nearby. In fact, studies show that 1 out of every 4 people who rinse poultry end up spreading germs around their kitchen. Just remember, water doesn't kill bacteria, only proper cooking does. So here's your playbook for keeping that prep zone clean. It's all about working smart. A pro tip? Make your salads and chop your veggies first, before the raw turkey even comes out of the fridge. Use a completely separate cutting board just for the turkey. And this last point is so important. After the turkey is cooked, it needs a clean plate. Putting it back on the platter that held it when it was raw just recontaminates your perfectly cooked bird. Okay, we've made it to the most important part of the whole mission, Phase 3. This is where we bring the heat and eliminate any lingering bacteria with what's called a thermal kill step. If you remember just one thing from this whole explainer, please let it be this number, 165. 165 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the safe, minimum internal temperature that every part of your turkey must reach to be safe. It is not a guideline, it's a hard and fast rule. So how do you know you've hit 165? With a food thermometer. That's it. Forget about those little plastic pop-up timers that sometimes come in turkeys. They are notoriously unreliable. The only way to be sure is to check it yourself. And you can't just check one spot. You have to check in 3 key locations: the thickest part of the breast, the innermost part of the thigh, and the wing. Make sure all 3 read 165 or higher. Now, we gotta talk about stuffing. I know stuffing cooked inside the bird is a tradition for so many people, but it is a high-risk move. That dense stuffing heats up way slower than the meat around it, and it can act like a sponge for raw juices. The safest method, hands down, is to just cook it in a separate casserole dish. But if you absolutely must stuff the bird, the very center of that stuffing also has to hit 165 degrees, no exceptions. You did it! The turkey's cooked. The meal was a huge success. But hold on, the mission isn't over yet. Now we enter phase 4, making sure those delicious leftovers don't become a problem tomorrow. This is where we need to chill. And here's your next critical number to remember, 2. As in 2 hours. That is the absolute maximum amount of time any perishable food should sit out at room temperature. As soon as you cross that 2-hour mark, the food is officially back in the danger zone. And, there's a little footnote to this rule. If the room is really warm, like over 90 degrees, which can totally happen with the oven on and a house full of people, that safety window shrinks to just 1 hour. The clock is always ticking. The goal now is to cool everything down, and fast. You can't just stick the whole turkey carcass in a fridge. It's way too big and dense. The inside would stay in the danger zone for hours while it slowly cools. So you've got to follow this protocol. Carve all the meat off the bone, divide all the leftovers into smaller portions, and store them in shallow containers. That maximizes the surface area and helps everything chill out much, much faster. So finally, how long do those leftovers actually last? Well, in the fridge, you've got about 3 to 4 days. After that, it's time to move them to the freezer. And notice that last point. When you reheat any of those leftovers, they need to get all the way back up to, you guessed it, 165 degrees. That ensures they're safe to eat all over again. Okay, I know that was a lot of information, but it really all comes down to just a few key critical actions. Let's do a super quick recap of the mission checkpoints for a safe Thanksgiving. These right here are the 4 non-negotiables, the rules you just can't break. First, plan that thaw in the fridge days ahead of time. Second, do not rinse the bird. Third, use a thermometer and make sure you hit 165 degrees in the breast, thigh, and wing. And fourth, get those leftovers cooling down within 2 hours. If you just do these 4 things, your mission will be a success. And there you have it, the complete playbook. You know the enemy, you know the rules, and you have the protocols for success. The only question left is, are you ready to cook the safest, most delicious Thanksgiving meal ever? You've got this.